We are now training 500 people in data, low-code, and AI at the moment to help them to go on this journey. Because I think it's very important that people continuously learn, especially because technology is changing so rapidly. People have to have the mindset that that continues change. They need to be adaptable for the next decade or maybe for the future as well. So by training those groups of people, I think we're getting our workforce ready for the future. And that's why I really believe in it. And I think as an engineer itself, these tools are really helpful and try to give them superpowers to do their job even better, right?
Welcome to the Trailblazers podcast, presented by BST Global, where we feature the visionaries who are shaping the future of the AEC industry. My name is Eileen Canady, Chief Marketing Officer at BST Global, and your host on today's podcast. Joining me today, we have Freek Matheij, Global Citizen Development and AI Director at Arcadis. Welcome, Freek.
Thank you.
Your career has spanned roles in citizen development, AI leadership, and emerging technologies. How did that path lead to your current role as Global Citizen Development at AI at Arcadis?
I started as a civil engineer, did a bachelor in structural engineering, a master in construction management engineering, starting to really work for clients for the first 4 years in the Netherlands. Then I got a great opportunity to move abroad to Qatar, in Doha, where I worked on some metro projects, airports, and other large-scale projects as a project manager and program manager. Through my career as working for clients, I was always intrigued with digital component or technology component, and I got the opportunity in, I think, around 2018 to be part of the digital transformation team of Arcadis. That time was the transformation from CAD to BIM, so I had to get the adoption of BIM within a company from 20% to almost 100%. There was a campaign called 100% BIM. After a while, I was like, I want to do more with data, and there was an opportunity to join my previous manager, he came from McKinsey, to join the data analytics transformation. So I joined the transformation from data analytics, moved towards more citizen development, because there was a lot of analytics going on in the organization, a lot of development, dashboards were developed, workflows, applications, so there was a lot of development. So it's like, okay, we need to have a bit of organization or structure around that, and then I got the opportunity to be part of the IT transformation. So I moved from digital transformation to IT transformation, and that called citizen development. I didn't know at the time, but it called citizen development to do this kind of job within IT. So I got the citizen development opportunity, presented to the board, got funding, established a team in 2021 with 0 people, and now have around a team of 25.
Wow, you're a true trailblazer with AI.
It started with Power BI, right? So you started with Power
Yes.
BI, and then you talk with data scientists, and they, of course, they have much more experience than myself because I came more from the engineering side of things. But learning from them and doing things by yourself helped me to maybe understand that there was a need in the business to build a team like this that could help the business to do more with data.
And speaking of the engineering background, can you tell the audience also a little bit about Arcadis and what the company does, what kind of impact it strives to make, in particular with some of the projects you see behind us?
Yes, of course. Arcadis is based in the Netherlands, headquartered in Amsterdam. It's a 5.1 billion revenue company. We have around 36,000 people around the globe. We do 40,000 projects a year, so it's a really project organization. And we do that for different business lines. So we have mobility, places, resilience, and intelligence. So in resilience is more focused on water and environmental restoration. Mobility, of course, looking at the highways in the background. And the last one is places, looking at buildings, which you also see on the background. So we do quite a lot. And at the end, our goal is to improve the quality of life, to really accelerate the planet positive future. So we really believe in net zero, a lot of our products around sustainability, and that's what we want to be a leader in and known for. So we really want to help our communities and our cities to be a better place to live.
Just like you were saying, your Arcadis' mission is really to focusing on the quality of life through sustainable and resilient environments. So how does your role focus on AI innovation? How does that help that mission?
What we do in technology, of course, help our people. I want to empower our people to use technology to find better solutions for our cities. But of course, within technology, there's also a footprint, right? So we also take that into account in some of our development. Like we talk later about Arcadis GPT, but we have a sustainability calculator there to make people also aware about their footprint, to try to avoid that they are maybe traveling too much, right? We try to really make people aware about their own impact on the environment, and hopefully we can change that in a positive way.
You're spearheading the upskilling of 2,000 citizen developers at Arcadis, and you're integrating our tools like Arcadis GPT. Could you share some initiative like this and how this work is transforming?
No, it's this great initiative. I'm very happy also that's part of the annual report that we upskilled 2,000 citizen developers within Arcadis. So before it was really upskilling we had some learning platforms, and people were very excited because they could become maybe a data scientist or data engineer. But then I realized that doesn't really contribute too much to the value of the company. That helps in their own career. But what I want to change is like changing their behavior in the business, using their skills in the business. So we this year creating a new upskilling program built by ourselves that people also understand how their behaviors help our projects. So we are now training 500 people in data, low-code, and AI at the moment to help them to go on this journey. Because I think it's very important that people continuously learn, especially because technology is changing so rapidly. People have to have the mindset that that continuous change. They need to be adaptable for the next decade or maybe for the future as well. So by training those groups of people, I think we're getting our workforce ready for the future. And that's why I really believe in it. And I think as an engineer itself, these tools are really helpful and try to give them superpowers to do their job even better, right? That's a bit of what I really am passionate about. So how can I help the engineers, the architects, the designers to do their job better? So they're also getting more energy out of that.
And we talk about upskilling, reskilling, and sometimes people are often afraid, oh, is AI going to take my job, replace my job? But it sounds like what you're heading and spearheading at Arcadis is really allowing existing employees to upskill and reskill, which is fantastic.
Yes, and then we have the citizen development angle is to say you can only use certain platforms, so you can only use this kind of techniques because then it helps the company. Well, before people just came learning from YouTube, tried to apply it in Arcadis using software that we didn't want to use. So that was also a bit of the citizen development elements to not just empower the individual, but make sure that also that individuals working within the boundaries of the company. Because a lot of students or graduates came with coding capabilities. Mm-hmm. So how can they apply those coding capabilities in a company as Arcadis? I think that's where I try to help them and also help our company to make sure that we're not causing risk, that they use software that nobody knows about, that maybe is very expensive, or maybe it's a risk for IP as well. So try to create some boundaries. Yeah.
That was leading into my next question. As the AI low-code technologies scale, governance and risk management, just as you were talking about it really becomes critical. So how do you balance that encouragement between innovation and also maintaining the risk? What are some of the things you can do?
Yes, very good question. And also a question that I'm kind of challenged about sometimes. But I think I'm trying to empower all Arcadians to do more with technology, right? So we call it the zoning model. So we have a green zone, a yellow zone, and a red zone. So in the green zone, they can do kind of all development for personal productivity. But when they scale their developments, maybe they share it with 100 people, then they need to work to IT. So citizen development is also that you need to work in a different way with IT, and IT need to work differently with the business. So it's kind of a new service for IT. So when they scale their applications, IT need to be involved. They cannot just ignore IT. The zoning model is very important and self-service. So what we also do as a citizen development hub is to make people aware what kind of developments already happened within the company, so they don't always start from scratch. So maybe can you reuse something? Maybe you can use this data that's available for you, or maybe use an application that's already developed, because there were cases where we had 5 times the same application. So that's something we want to avoid.
What hurdles have you seen in scaling this really globally? I can imagine that you've encountered a lot of challenges. Anything in particular you can think of?
Yes, of course. Yeah, what I mentioned, right? Duplication of efforts.
Yes.
Or when people develop something as a citizen developer and we need to scale it, sometimes it needs to be redeveloped. So then it's also additional investment. So sometimes it's also understanding, okay, it's not, you have a nice POC, but going to something on an enterprise level means something different. You need more people involved. You need to make sure that everything is scalable. And the other side is like maybe the sentiment as well. It's like we come from shadow IT, which I try to make transparent, but then you say, oh, do you know that we have 7,000 applications? So it's okay. Then you get a bit of like a feeling that we are doing maybe too much development. And I think that's maybe something we need to manage. So it's like you also need to have the message that you are in control. You know what's happening in the organization, and make sure that you also speak to individuals that maybe are not following the rules. You're kind of policing around sometimes, which is a bit of the feeling. You cannot do this, but you can do this, and try to use it in a certain way.
And it sounds like you're doing a ton of upskilling, reskilling at Arcadis, and I can imagine there's a large amount of the workforce that are really embracing it. How do you manage the entire culture? Because it's really a transformation, and how do you really allow the entire organization to embrace this new culture?
So I'm doing more the technical work.
Okay.
So I'm trying to help people to learn some skills they can apply on a project. But there's another initiative in the company called Skilled Powered Organization. So we want that people can be found on their skills and capabilities. So with these technical capabilities that they train from, not saying for me, but for my team, they can upload it in the Skilled Powered Organization, and that will give recommendations in AI. What could be your next step in your career? So not every career is linear. So this will give you opportunities for me as well. I can look at myself. Maybe I want to be a CEO or a COO or maybe CTO. It gives you recommendations and training what maybe is necessary for you to get there. And also make the connections to your maybe potential mentors. So that's very interesting. It is a very powerful platform. And it's also an initiative from a global level to have the skill-powered organization. So it's also a shift in mindset, I would say.
And your work bridges corporate innovation, citizen development, and AI leadership. So how does engaging really with the broader tech community and thought leaders influence your strategies at Arcadis?
It is kind of an interesting mix, right? So you have citizen development is trying to empower Arcadians. Then I work also on corporate level to really build enterprise applications, like Arcadis GPT is a corporate application, or like Proposal AI is a corporate application. So these things are come down, top down, and bottom up, there's maybe the innovation funnel for us. A lot of these engineers are developing POCs that helps us maybe to say, oh, there's maybe potential for scaling in the future. So maybe we can invest in some of these ideas to go to the next level. The challenge is that I was working with Gartner, Forrester. We have a partner at the moment, ThoughtWorks, helping us with the AI strategy. So we have a lot of external partners helping us to define what's the best way for us as a company, and how is the new generative AI or agentic AI impacting our corporate strategy. And that's where we are at the moment. So we are looking at this change of technology. How is it impacting our organization? Where does it have an impact, and where maybe it doesn't have an impact? So we focus on where it could have an impact, and how can we focus on that and maybe investing in those areas.
When you say have an impact, are there certain projects or are there certain areas within the organization, maybe a low-hanging fruit that you can say, we can make a difference here? Have you found any trends in certain types of projects?
I think the most influence is maybe on operational excellence or operations. So you see a lot of development also maybe with our competitors on proposal development or understanding better the RFPs. So that's where we're helping with technology to help our project managers to better respond on RFPs, for example. So that's a very low-hanging fruit. I think you can use generative AI pretty easily for that. Not to develop proposals, that's a completely different job, but to understand proposals, it's really working well. Then we have also for legal, so also reviewing legal documents. We have a similar application that's kind of going on for years already, using more traditional machine learning techniques, but now with generative AI, it really helps us to maybe get even better insight. So you see these more enabling function areas, which is maybe more internal focused, which you can make a big impact to maybe improve productivity.
And looking ahead, how do you see AI, citizen development, and really a skills-based workforce model reshaping the AEC industry over the next 5, maybe 10 years?
I didn't mention before, but I just did my MBA in low-code and AI, where I worked together with Tom Davenport, and he wrote a book, All Hands on Tech. And he's writing about citizen data scientist or citizen automation or citizen developer. And I think that's important. I think it's very important for us to invest in technology, in upskilling people to use this technology, and also make them ready for change, because there will be a lot of change in the next decade. So I think that's, for me, very important, because our people are... Everything's about our people first, right? It's also in our corporate strategy. But I think if we help our people to be using those technology in a better way, we're making our workforce ready for the future. And I think that's the most important thing, and I'll talk about that tomorrow as well. I think it's just really thinking about how can you use AI and how does it amplify your work.
Well, congrats on the MBA. It's in citizen development.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That must have been brand new.
It was difficult to get that topic to citizen development. Also,
Yes.
they asked me, what is citizen development? I think there's also confusing term, citizen development.
Yes,
So
yes.
you get a lot of questions. But there's a lot of companies like Shell, Johnson & Johnson, Amtrak, all have citizen development programs. So I was looking at other companies that are using the same kind of framework from Gartner or Forrester and how they apply that and try to bring it back to the ESC industry. So Shell is a front runner in citizen development. They train 4,000 people in citizen development. You have like 300 coaches helping those citizen develop. So that's a bit of the North Star. But now, with AI, everybody can be a citizen developer because I can build an application in just an hour now. So also from IT, you need to reorganize IT as well to make sure that they are using the right tools. But also, what are we going to do with all these apps that people can develop, right? So yesterday there was an architect share me something he did with ChatGPT, and he just built a whole design in ChatGPT, like something like this in the background, in just seconds, a render, right? So it's just amazing to see how this technology can help you as an engineer in your daily job.
It really is. So do you have any advice for maybe engineering students or computer science students to say, maybe focus in on this because of so much change that is happening? Yeah.
No, I think for me, the important thing is I love this industry because you can also see it outside, right? Yeah. So it's very nice to work in this industry, and having those capabilities and the technology support can help you to design better cities. So if you're passionate about that, it's very important that every engineer understand maybe some coding capabilities or some background in AI, which also happens now, even on country levels, they're investing in AI training, right? So I think it's very important that the new generation, I'm also looking at my son, I think I would say maybe do some coding or better understand a bit of that AI element because that will be important for the future.
In the next 5 years, what are you the most excited about for the potential?
No, I'm just, again, linked to the industry. My passion is about empowering Arcadians. That's why I'm in this company for 14 years, which is very unique for my generation. So I really believe that empowering Arcadians will help us to indeed build better cities, help our communities. So that's my passion. And I believe that if we are investing in AI, we should not say it as just another tool. It's really a transformation of the whole organization. And I think we need to embrace that. And if we do that in the right way, Arcadis will be set up for success. But hopefully we can also build better cities for our future. Yeah.
If you were to look back on your career to date, what would you say would be the best advice that someone gave you?
I think was always not looking at my career, but look at my mentors. So I had mentors or managers coming from different companies. That's why I feel that I'm not in the same company for so long, because I had a manager from McKinsey. I had a manager coming from Capital One. I had a manager coming from Oracle. These are all technology companies. And I learned so much from them, and I could apply it in the AEC context because that was my strength. So always look for the mentor that can bring you to the next level. I didn't have too much experience in technology. I didn't have much experience in IT, but by selecting the managers, I learned a lot over the last couple of years. So I think that was very important for me. People say maybe change your manager every 2 years. I'm not saying you have to follow that, but I think losing a manager that you can keep growing, I think is very important in my career.
If you were to go back and when you first started out in your career, is there any advice that you would give to yourself?
I would start learning coding earlier. I did it. Of course, I started more in low code, but I would say I should have maybe started to understand Python in that time already, so I could benefit better from that later in my career. So I picked it up more in the weekends and tried to learn that, but I think it's a very useful knowledge to have now, especially now with all the AI development. So coding, programming, I would definitely recommend that time to learn it. But I think my curious mindset helped me to be where I am now. So also be curious, try to explore these AI tools in your personal life and try to maybe apply it in Arcadis within the boundaries I give you. So I think that's my challenge as well. Be curious.
Be curious.
Yeah.
That's great advice. And I've always told my children too, follow your passion and the rest will fall into place. And it sounds like, Freek, you're extremely passionate about citizen development, AI, and all of the other technologies that you're bringing to Arcadis and continuing to evolve. So thank you so much for joining us on this podcast today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Eileen, for the conversation. I really enjoyed it.
And thank you to our audience for joining us today on the Trailblazers podcast. Until next time, take care.